Prime Minister Modi's visit to the US led to one of the most consequential agreements between the two countries, that is technical collaboration for creating fabs for national security requirements. This is a first for both US and India. It sets the framework for greater tie-ups between New Delhi and Washington. And joining me in this segment is Mukesh Aghi of USISPF to talk about the bilateral relationship and also the US elections, which are now in their last lap. All right, Mr. Aghi, thanks so much for speaking to NDTV. Let me start by asking you about the India-US relationship. It's amidst the tie-up that has been announced between the two countries. It's unprecedented and sets the stage for what else?
So I think you have to look at the relationship a little broader, and then I'll come down to the specific question on chip side. You have a stress point taking place between US and China. And US has realized that its industrial base in manufacturing is in China, not in the United States. And for it to be able to deal in time of in a time of stress, either war or COVID, for example, it needs to be close to having its own industrial base, or with friendshoring, where it can depend on the supply chain. And so keeping that in mind, you have also India-China relationship, which is at a stress point. So keeping that in mind, US and India realize that they need to work together to deal with the assertive and aggressive China. And US also has realized that its population is aging. It doesn't have the capacity to build a large industrial manufacturing base. So it has decided that it's going to partner with India to build that large industrial base, because the population of India is young. It's a very well-educated population, plus the market demand for products being manufactured in India will grow up, because it's a $4 trillion economy. It'll become a $5 trillion economy. So keeping that in mind, manufacturing chips is a natural progression. That's one of the initiatives. Today, every chip in the world is designed in India because we don't have the fabs, so they're not manufactured. So that's where US has taken the lead. Okay, let's start with the military chip manufacturing so you can supply each other on the defense side itself. So I think you will see not just on that, you're seeing that in GE jet engines now, partnership with HAL to be manufactured. You will see a lot of other areas. So I think the next few years, you'll see a massive deluge of manufacturing moving by the US companies into India.
That's a very important point. And in fact, staying with technology, Prime Minister Modi met the who's who of big tech in the US. Where do you see the tech collaboration going from here on between US and India?
So I think when you look at the track record, government don't run their businesses very effective and efficiently. And that's where the private sector plays a critical role, especially when you're looking at very high-tech manufacturing. So I think you will see effort both by government of India and US government to bring in private partners. So for example, we're seeing now on the chip side, Tatas are getting involved. You have others getting involved. You look at on the plane manufacturing side, again, Tatas have done partnership with Airbus, with Boeing, with Lockheed. So I think while government will take the initiative, the execution has to come from the private sector.
Right. You mentioned friendshoring at the beginning of this discussion. Donald Trump is promising just that. How much do you think it will have an impact on countries like India if jobs go back to the US?
So I think, if you look at Trump mentioned the same thing when he was the president. Yes, he did impose tariffs on Chinese goods coming in, but who pays for it? It's the consumer. And we already have a inflation in the country we're trying to control. And by putting 60%, 200% tariffs on goods coming in from Mexico or other part, it is going to impact the consumer. And the basically economists are saying that this is not the viable way to build an economy, to build a manufacturing area. So I don't think by putting massive tariff, and we've learned this in India also, by having high barriers, it does not convince the companies to move manufacturing in India. It has to be pull and push strategy, like India has done by setting up PLI scheme to encourage in a positive reinforcement manner for them to set up manufacturing in India. So I think Trump's statements are very political. Past record shows that they were not executed. And I don't see in the future they're getting executed also. So I think India should not worry about from that perspective. It should just continue its momentum and build on what's good for India.
All right, Mr. Aghi, we leave it there. Thanks much for speaking to me on India Sets.